好的，各位来宾，各位现场的朋友，大家好，我是台视主播林一如。今天再次的欢迎大家来到今天的国际论坛。那我们今天题目是呢，如何与国际音乐市场最新商机还有发展无缝接轨？How to connect latest business trends with international music market？ 那在现场呢，我们今天也邀请到了几位非常特别的贵宾，他们是远道而来，特别来参加这一次的论坛。那首先第一位呢，我要来介绍的是今天的引言人倪崇华先生，他是喜居文化开发顾问公司的董事长逆桑，欢迎来到我们现场。好，请坐。我们接下来呢要来介绍的是我们今天语坛的贵宾。第一位要介绍的是 Mr. Glenn Friedman，the Music Umbrella CEO。Welcome, and please proceed to the stage. Thank you. 好，接下来呢，我们要介绍的是 Mr. Tony Ward，Music Matters 策划总监，还有 Man on the Ground 负责人。Welcome, it's a great honor to have you. 好，再来第三位要介绍的是沈光远先生，他是春浪国际音乐节的策展人。欢迎，请来到我们的台前入座，谢谢。好，接下来呢，我们要介绍的是 Mr. Sebastian Mayer，Rockstar Touring 日本区的副总 ，Music Solution 董事长，共同创办人，前 Live Nation 日本顾问，前加拿大官方驻日本文化交流使 ，Welcome。所以在这个我们把时间交给逆桑之前呢，我们想要简短的请贵宾来自我介绍一下。So please, our distinguished guest, can you please just briefly introduce yourself to our audience before we start? Thank you.
Hello? There we go. My name is Glenn Friedman, and I run a company called the Music Umbrella out of Santa Monica, California. We are essentially music consultants that are involved with the international market. We license music all over the world, and our biggest efforts in the next, I'd say, 5 to 10 years is to spend more time and develop more relations with the people and the companies and talent here in Asia. We've been fortunate over the years to work with a lot of very, I want to say, important and really great talent, and we've had a tremendous amount of success with a lot of luck and hard work. And I mean, personally, I feel that this market is one that has been a little overdue to be happening in North America, and it'd be my pleasure to help bring more talent out of here and bring more talent into this country and all of Chinese-speaking Asia. Normally, I'm not this quiet. I'm a little crazy, and as this goes on, I think you'll see that I'm a little bit, not a little bit. I'm a nutty guy, but we get things done. And I want to thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate coming here, and that's it for the time being. Thank you.
I think Glenn has the best shirt of any of us. Hi, my name's Tony Ward. I want to thank you for having me to one of my favorite cities, Taipei. I've been here quite often, so I love coming here, so thanks for having me. I am the program director of Music Matters, which is a very large music conference and festival that takes place in Singapore in late May. I also have a company based in Hong Kong called Man on the Ground, where I help Western companies and entertainment, music, technology into Asia. It's more market entry services. Before that, I spent 20-some years working for major labels in New York, many different music labels. So I've been around the block in the music business, but I've been in Asia for 5 years. And I think that's it.
好，各位听众，大家好。我看来是现在这个席位里面唯一的中国人啊。但是我也要稍微介绍一下我自己，就是其实我是 从小生在纽约啊，因为父母亲在台大法律系毕业，他们就在我父亲在纽约教国际公法，所以他们待了20年。那我们家小朋友都生在那里啊。我这是7岁回来台湾。那我本身是就读医学院毕业，在医学院的时期搞了一个摇滚乐团，叫红蚂蚁合唱团。那也误打误撞，后来就在台湾最大的唱片公司滚石唱片，就开始学习做 music producer， 后来也做了 A&R 的 director 啊，所以之后友善的狗就独立出来，变成一个 independent record for 10 years 哈，所以自己是说搞 band 出身，然后在台湾最大的唱片公司，那时候跟逆赏也在一起工作过哈。然后我也帮逆赏的一个很有名的 artist 叫林强 produce 过《向前走》这首歌，很谢谢他给我这个机会。然后那个在友善的过的做了10年的 independent record 之后，大概在2000年，全世界的唱片工业都 crash 掉，那我们也走了一段很黑暗的日子。但是在2006年，就因为过去唱片公司的 background，我们就看到了 live 是一个全世界音乐产业 music industry 未来的趋势跟 trend， 所以我们就开始在做 live。那当时就开始做了 Spring Wave， 就是春浪音乐节。2006年开始在垦丁，一直到现在总共9年。然后在去年也开始走入了新加坡跟香港2地。那 Spring Wave 现在已经是全亚洲华人世界数1数2的指标的活动，明年我们也有计划再进入更多的市场，预料在未来的5年中，春浪应该会成长到全亚洲，希望有10个城市啊这样子。那很高兴今天能够来这边，今天大概就是能贡献一点我们在春浪的经验给各位，好，谢谢大家。
Well, I guess last but perhaps least, my name is Sebastian Mayer. I'm from Toronto, Canada, originally, though I've been living in Tokyo, Japan, of course, for about 18 years now. Every day for me is wearing, I guess, a different hat. I have an agency with Rockstar Touring, which is also in Singapore and Thailand. Some of the bands that we toured in Asia last year included Metallica and Guns N' Roses, also Japanese bands we've just started recently as well, including One OK Rock. On top of that, I run a company called Music Solutions, so we do a lot of artists and brands together. Let's say in the past 2 years, we've worked with Burton Snowboards and Reebok, and numerous artists for VIP events. I'm also the Japanese rep for Rdio, the music streaming company, which a lot of you quite know. Of course, here would be the dominant similar company would be KKBox. On top of that, I'm a director for Unidam, which is perhaps the largest internet contents protector in Asia and probably one of the top 10 in the world. Previously to that, I think it was mentioned that I was with Live Nation Japan. I worked in music publishing for many, many years, Fuji Pacific Music Publishing, as well with EMI Music. I was a music supervisor for other brands such as Reebok, the Hilton Hotel chain in Japan. And there's a few others that I'm missing. But anyway, thank you very much for having me today.
Thank you all for the introduction。那接下来我们要把时间交给逆桑，不过在此之前，还是要请逆桑也跟我们的观众朋友来自我介绍一下好吗？谢谢。
他们找我来是因为那个台北市政府有银发族专案，我就不浪费时间。现在网络很发达，大家回去查一下好了啊。那个今天要谈的就是如何与国际市场最新商机发展无限接轨。在刚刚我们在等的时候 ，Tony 就跟我抱怨说，刚刚那个开场以前放的音乐不对。刚刚放的什么音乐？大家有印象吗？刚刚放的是什么音乐？啊，不是萧敬腾，是什么音乐？没感觉哈。我只有跟他讲，我说 我们台湾音乐还没有进入我们的生活，音乐还是一个科目。各位很多是学生，可能最近学校开始要推动这个广设流行音乐学系，如果真的发生了，我们流行乐就毁了。今天我们要谈国际，今天在座的4位都是有20年以上经验的唱片产业的工作经验，那他们是历经了从整个唱片工业 CD 载体的溃盲，然后进入了现场演出的时代，所以他们是非常有经验的。所以我想今天要简短时间，然后把我们的议题聚焦。我们讲的是国际化，所以在座的各位都是做 live 演出的，所以我们今天讲的会是 live 演出的国际化，所以并不是大家在网络上的数位音乐的国际化。这个我们先讲，先聚焦。然后我要引言的，我想要提出来的观点就是，台湾其实我们有一个很好的机会，就是我们有一个广大的中国市场。那我们台湾应该有至少超过15组以上的艺人，每一次推出巡回演出的时候，在中国大概都会保持有30场以上的演出，有这样的基础。那还有我们许多长辈的艺人，他凭了一首歌，他也可以在大陆1年可能有创造100场以上的演出，这是相当大的商业的一个收入。那另外，像台湾其实真的新的音乐的力量是来自于乐团，我估计台湾的乐团可能超过3000个乐团。那这些乐团都是自发性的，发自于他们对音乐的热爱，想要做音乐。那这些乐团现在在政府的政策辅导之下，陆续都开始在国际的音乐节出去表演。所以我今天想要请教这些专家给我们一些看法，就是说，在这样2个不同的观点之下，有些人认为台湾其实不需要走国际，台湾就是大中华地区就够了。但是有些人觉得说我们应该往国际走，他们就他们的专业，就这点给我们一些看法。我们需要，因为我们台湾长期以来都是用自己的标准看自己，我们都只有岛内标准，所以今天大家敞开心胸听听老外怎么看我们。第二个，台湾很喜欢比较，我们台湾很喜欢跟韩国比，所以台湾的音乐永远拿来被跟韩国比较。韩国的音乐是来自于唱片工业的集中的生产。台湾因为最近世足，台湾没有足球文化，所以我们台湾没有办法体会足球俱乐部创造球星的方式，所以我们并没有办法体会韩国如何把足球俱乐部创造球星的方式转去做流行音乐。所以我们这样的，我们永远看韩国的流行音乐都会把它归功于政府的辅导，其实并不是。那台湾其实强的是在乐团，乐团的表演是出自内心自发的，跟韩国呢机械式训练是不同的。所以针对这一点，我也想听听各位朋友的看看，我们台湾的乐团走进全世界，应该有一些我们自己的特殊点，到底是在哪里？好，我们就开始我们今天的讨论。Tony, what do you think about?
I think today, the world is you can touch all areas of the world, obviously, with the internet now, and your music can be heard throughout the world, really quite easily, or it's accessible quite easily. But the trick is that how do you rise above that and get people to notice your music and to seek it out. And I think if you're looking to get out of your home market, I think number one, you need to be really successful in your home market and to have many years of building your expertise in your home market, so that when you do travel abroad, you are able to compete with other bands in those home bands in those markets. And I think that my experience in Taiwan is that it really is a live house, live music culture, and the bands here are forced to play live quite often, and they often can hold themselves very, very high to very high standards in terms of performing and playing live. I think as a band, you really need to have a business plan and to have a vision, and to really do your homework and study the opportunities that are at your disposal around the world to perform. and there are quite a few now. And Taiwan is a country with a government who is starting to support exporting their music. In America, we really don't have that. There are countries like Canada and South Korea where the government is really pushing, and Japan to get the music exported, which is, I think, a real luxury and something that should not be taken for granted. It's very, very lucky to have a country that supports the arts like that. So I think you really need to study and find out. There are quite a few opportunities for bands to perform around the world. Music Matters is a festival. We had quite a few bands from Taiwan this year. We had a discussion on doing business in Taiwan. There are festivals like Canadian Music Week. There are festivals in the UK. There are festivals quite a few in CMJ in New York, South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. There are festivals in Australia, many festivals. And I think if a band wants to get out, they really need to study and find out, how do I go abroad? How do I get the money to do this? What's my 6-month plan? What's my 1-year plan? How do I grow my social media so that these festivals will take me seriously? And then when you go to these festivals, there are very often conferences that are part of these festivals. And I urge any band to go and really be a sponge and take as much as you can to learn about the industry, because very often the panels at these conferences have people with incredible knowledge and experience, and it's all about who you know and what you know in these markets. And there's a lot you can do in these markets to meet people, and to make connections, and to learn from people who have done what you want to do. So I think you really need to have a plan and to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there, because today there are a lot of opportunities. 5 years ago, you couldn't have your music available in the U.S. Now you can. You can have it on all the streaming services if you want. There's other things we could talk about, like boring topics like metadata, so that you get that correct. But there are many things you need to do. But I think that's my opinion.
Thank you. I have to concur that a lot of things were just said are things that I was thinking about saying, so that my speech is going to be more about how does one break out of the current, pop scene here in Taiwan, in the mainland. From my observation, there's some fantastic singers here, male and female, and I can't get over how powerful some of them are, and not just in bands, but solo artists or duets, duos. But it all comes down to the songs and songwriting, and I think that in the end of the day will make a difference about how your music is going to be accepted in other parts of the world. I think that you'll see that, and style. That's the songwriter leads to style, and I don't mind the pop style. I think it's very good. I mean, I grew up with the A B C B and outro, but I think and I understand part of the culture here is very, very, very melodic songs, but very tight and confining arrangements. So I think one has to kind of look at that first, for being you have to step out of your, not you personally, but step out of that box that a lot of the music seems to be in the pop world here in Taiwan. And this also goes for other parts of Chinese-speaking markets. I'm not saying all of a sudden you have to start writing heavy metal music or American country music, but I think that the format here is very confining, and it needs to kind of find its way into what is being sold around the world, or in certain markets in the world, and maybe concentrate on that. It's a fine balance, because to become popular around the world or just outside of these markets, it's going to take a lot of effort, both creatively, you making your music, and then if you're going to go the independent route, you're going to need some serious financing, which means either independent investors or corporations or large sponsors that get what you're about. That has to happen. Having said that, it is important to have a good online presence. It's very important. But there are some places, I mean, some countries like in France, they don't really particularly care what's going on generally speaking. They really don't care what's going on in your market. If they love it, they want to prove it's good in their world. And it's kind of interesting that a lot of times people and companies around the world want to discover something that's different and unusual. So keep that in mind. But I wrote a couple of notes here, see if I can jot them back into here. Okay, another thing, it's been a very difficult thing for just about any country to crack the North American market that doesn't have an English-sounding singer. In other words, if you're singing in any other language, if you're have an accent, this is kind of, I think this is part of our problem in North America, though it's breaking down. It's been very hard for Chinese acts, Japanese acts, unless it's jazz or heavy metal or even some little bit of rap, to get the ears of the radio stations and get the ears of the public interested. That baffles me. I mean, we've had a few big hits, obviously, over the years with people that came from Sweden, and they still have a little bit of an. It kind of broke down a little bit there, and sometimes we have some French people that make. But generally speaking, it's like, if you want to make it more of a mainstream effort or even a specific effort, your English enunciation and when you're singing is very important. And of course, there's other genres that is not as important, like in jazz, which I love, but you got to keep that in mind too. I mean, it's a daunting thing. You're going to go, oh, how am I going to get my accent to? Well, there's people that work on elocution and they might be able to help you if this sounds like appealing to you. But one thing is always, first of all, if you're determined to make it, don't take no for an answer by anybody. Just keep on trying. Find people that believe in you here or anywhere in the world, and then you trust them and they trust you, obviously. But you have to go with your heart and your instincts about who you're going to work with. Let me see what else I have down here. That doesn't work out, but okay, yeah. Basically, think outside the box, and that's what it's all about. I think to explore other markets other than where you are right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn.
Yeah, actually, I just wanted to jump in there since we are talking more on business trends, and Glenn alluded, of course, about doing business in North America. I mean, being in Japan, it was always, and I know for here and a lot of places, everyone wanted to break it in the UK. Everybody wanted to go in the US. But we are definitely fortunate now, I think, to be at a time where, I mean, you don't even have to think about the US and the UK anymore. I mean, you've got such a great growing live scene in just neighboring countries, well, relatively neighboring countries. I mean, if you look at countries like Indonesia, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, Japan, of course, Korea. I mean, this is probably the biggest growing live area in the world. And I think a lot of Japanese bands looking who we've worked with, I mean, you can be playing at such a big size area in Japan and you want to go to the US, well, you have to get in a bus with your 6 or 7 guys, and you're out there for weeks at a time, staying at little hotels or sleeping on people's sofas. You're playing at little live houses. Well, now you've got an area. Literally, you can do 5 countries now in Asia within a week. I mean, you could be playing in Kuala Lumpur one night. You take a bus, you're playing in Singapore the following night, and this is really been an eye-opening for a lot of Japanese bands specifically, where they did not realize that they had this fan base literally within Asia. And now I think a lot of people, of course, there's companies like Avex and Amuse who have all set up offices in Singapore, and it's a closer, theoretically, I mean, it's not an area where you have to spend so much time, but I mean, you have to understand where your fan base is. But I think a lot of people's views have been moving towards Asia. And I mean, I think that for Taiwan to look a lot of what, I mean, there's been a long history between, of course, Taiwan and Japan. More Japanese bands coming to Taiwan, but vice versa. There are, of course, I mean, even Summer Sonic, which is perhaps one of the 5 big festivals. I mean, 200,000 people this August. There are quite a few Taiwanese bands playing. Cosmos People, I guess, is among them. But yeah, anyway, so looking at trends, I think, I mean, Asia is the trend. You don't have to be looking towards North America or Europe. I mean, it's here.
光远。
OK， 那个我会觉得说，刚刚听到他们3位讲，都有他们的专业跟看法，但我 personal， 我非常那个同意 Sebastian 讲的，就是我觉得对台湾的音乐人来讲，还有刚刚那个 Tony 一开始也讲到 mother market 的问题，我要强调2个重点，我是觉得说。现在的世代，我们已经可以看到一些很有能力跟能量的创作乐团，就像Sebastian讲，你可以自己也不要透过唱片公司，就有办法去 tour 几个国家。这件事情在现在的世界已经一点都不困难，这样。但是如果你要去讲到是一个有影响力的，那我非常认为说，你 no matter what 还是要在你的 mother market。先站起来。那以台湾的艺人来讲，我们现在看得到的例子就是5月天 Mayday， 对不对 ？Mayday 他已经可以到日本，甚至去伦敦、New York 这些地方，但这毕竟是非常少数的例子。所以我个人会认为说，如果以台湾新的创作乐团或新的艺人，我觉得应该还是要 focus 在 mother market。另外呢，也应该要多吸取国际的演出的。这种是一种经验，是一种眼界，是一种胸怀。那就像Sebastian去参加很多不同的地方，去看到很多不一样的演出，我觉得这对创作、对音乐人是一个很好的养分。我觉得这个是一个很重要的 experience。但是 no matter what， 你的决战市场还是要先从 mother market 站起来，你才有机会真的走到 international。我觉得这个还是。不变的法则了，这是我个人的看法。这样，
谢谢光宇。刚刚4位大概对于都提出了他们的看法。简单来讲，就是我们要走出去嘛，要打开这个 out of the box。显然他们也看出台湾的状况，就是非常的岛内标准，好像比较没有国际，所以大家。想起来刚刚开场前放的什么音乐吗？没有啊，没有进入我们的生活。最后我再跟大家讲到底放了什么音乐，有没有音乐？记不记得？有没有放音乐？不确定哈，有吗？有没有音乐？有吗？确定有音乐，但不知道什么音乐。哦，真的吗？没关系。那我还是要再继续请各位，他们给我们大概都是在演出的这方面。那刚刚还是讲到那个韩国了啊，我们台湾喜欢跟韩国比嘛。那韩国音乐为什么？刚刚讲的口音，他唱韩文，他不管地区，他的地区到底是哪里？他到底是以亚洲为出发，他还是以西方为宗旨？那他现在中南美洲也去。那韩国的音乐是怎么样形成？那我们台湾的现在的所谓乐团，除了刚刚各位提的那个观点之外，如果跟韩国来比较，我们有没有什么其他的台湾的特殊的地方在哪里？比较慢一点。
I really don't know how to answer that off the top of my head. I'm a little bit familiar with the Korean music, and I'm becoming more involved or more interested in the music here from Taiwan. But your point being that you see the music from here, the business growth like it has been with Korea? Is that
You
your
can
point?
maybe you can share with us how do you feel about Korean music? Do you see the Psy new song with Snoopy Dogg?
Right.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean,
how about you this?
I think the Korean market is a little bit more open and a lot more allowing the music to be more expansive. So it's probably one of the reasons why that it's been growing throughout all of Asia and even parts of the world. Another thing I've noticed at some of these conferences that were discussed earlier, the Korean government has been very active in promoting their talent and their industry, which is nice to see. It's happening here now too, in a big way. It makes a big difference that you know that your country has got your back when you're trying to go out and play music all over wherever you want to play. It's amazing because when we think of the United States, our country, our government doesn't support the arts like they do all over the world. And I'm not just talking about music. I mean, we're talking about the way the government will support artists and painters and sculptors, and that's a wonderful thing. And I think it's fabulous that people who are involved respect the music and the talents. But that's about all I can say right now. Thank you.
If I could ask a question just quickly, what is Taiwanese? Are you looking at from the Korean model, or is there actual Taiwanese music being compared to K-pop? I've never heard the comparison so much. So I'm just trying to understand if it's
in Taiwan, the media like to compare Taiwan with Korean. Everything.
okay.
Everything compared with Korean. I don't understand why. So.
Because I think one thing as well you have to keep in mind is it's the structure of it as well. I mean, this is music that is made for exporting. I mean, you have it's kind of the same model, not exactly the same model, but I mean, you always have one member that speaks Japanese. You always have one member that speaks English in order for press. I mean, there's a whole kind of glamour. You've got the certain kind of they work with the cutting edge brands as well, so that they're pushing 6 months ahead. A lot of the management companies have clothing brands within or tied in, whether it's Fila Sportswear or I mean, and it's definitely a model that's been. I'd say probably, of course, I mean, it's a very Korean model that's been built throughout the years. But I mean, they've always had to look at exporting their music, especially to Japan, and now it's kind of leapfrogged, of course, throughout Asia and into North America to a degree. But I think, I mean, my friend Rob Schwartz from Billboard, who's sitting over there, I mean, there is a bit of smoke and mirrors as well to a degree. So, I mean, where you hear certain artists are playing Madison Square Gardens, well, what were the actual sales or what is their tours? So they've been very good at promoting themselves as well, but sometimes it's a little far from reality. As far as Taiwanese music is concerned, of course, I haven't seen that many similarities to Taiwanese music to Korean. So whether it's more of a fascination or an adoration to Korean music, I'm just kind of curious where the connections are.
Thank you. 韩国音乐创作一出发就是要出口的，我们的音乐是比较大部分没有这样的想象，我们都是内需，我们自己的情感交流比较重要，大概是这样的意思。所以如果要从韩国的观点看，它整个所有的那个音乐的包装，就是为了取悦你，为了要出口。这是出发点是不一样。那当然我们也有我们自己的强的地方。那这样东西如果要拿到世界上的话，它会有一些障碍。那个障碍可能会是在哪
里？ I think Sebastian mentioned that Korea has a very shrewd model in the fact that they will have a Chinese-speaking member of their band so that they can become huge in China. The English person will do press, and I think that goes to having a global vision when you set out to have a career. So even if it's a small band, again, that goes back to my point about what is your what's your short-term plan, but what's your long-term plan? Where do you want to go? And I think today, with your music being accessible around the world, you need to think about that, and you need to put yourself into the other markets that you're interested in. A lot of people from the West think that they will be big in Japan or think they can be big in Asia, but they've never been here before. They have no idea that every country is completely different than the other country, that everyone speaks different languages, that they all have different telco providers, that every type of music is different, that Malaysia couldn't be more different than Singapore, and Singapore couldn't be more different than Indonesia. And until they come over here and they experience that, they have no idea. So I tell them, well, if you want to be big in Asia, you need to get over here. You need to experience it. You need to see what it's like, and you need to do your homework and come over here before you think you can be big here. And I think that applies going out as well. I think, again, that goes back to my point about doing your homework and trying to travel and get out of your market as much as possible and to see what it's like in other markets.
And actually, what just I wanted to mention, because Tony works with YouTube as well in Singapore. It's such a brand new. I mean, in the last few years, especially. I mean, how YouTube has become the dominant promotional tool within at least Southeast Asia. I think Taiwan and Japan are very similar, where the penetration. I mean, everybody watches YouTube, but not to the degree that they do in Southeast Asia. You can go to countries like Singapore and Philippines, and you'll have YouTube blog. I mean, it's not just music artists. You have YouTube bloggers who'll get off the plane, and you've got hundreds of fans waiting for them. And I mean, they can't believe it themselves. They just don't know what's happening here. But I mean, Tony just the other week in Singapore was doing one of the YouTube fan festivals. Is that the Fan Fest?
Fan Fest.
And I mean, that's becoming a worldwide thing. I understand they haven't done it here. It's just going to be starting to launch in Japan soon as well. I'm sure you'll see it in Taiwan any day soon. But that is such an important promotional tool right now. And I mean, even for me being in Asia, Japan, I wasn't even aware on how big it is for Southeast Asia. So I mean, just it's a very interesting thing to just a recent phenomenon.
I think this goes to the point of your music and image can be now available around the world, and I think Sam Dwan made a point about it in the 4G panel. About how all of his artists now, he's really emphasizing video content, and then it's got to be mobile content, and I couldn't be I believe totally in that, just because I've seen the power of YouTube, and how vital that is, because I think people are identifying with artists, with personalities, with all kinds of people visually now, and they latch on to that visual connection. I think that it's almost like they're speaking to them, and they develop a personal connection. And the power of YouTube. I mean, Sebastian mentioned it. We have an example 2 years ago when we did the first Fan Fest in Singapore. We had two Canadian K-pop bloggers who live in Seoul, who came down. I think they have at the time they had about 500,000 subscribers, which isn't that big for the people that.
What's it? It's something Love Kimchi.
It's called Eat Your Kimchi. They had 500,000 subscribers, which again, the type of YouTube stars we're working with is pretty small. And they had they tweeted before they were coming to Singapore that they were going to be there. They're on the next flight, and they had about 100 people waiting for them at the airport. So, we were just shocked by that. So it's the power of the visual connection that you can make around the world is interesting now.
This is all true about YouTube, but recent developments at the company are going to make it a lot more difficult, if they carry through with it, for independent acts and independent labels to get the exposure they want on YouTube, just because they're not cooperating with the powers that run YouTube. So other sites like Vimeo, is it Vimeo, right? Yeah, right. Are going to be ones to look at too, if they keep their threats from YouTube. It's like the major companies have kind of co-opted the YouTube services, and they realize the value and the impact of it, and they're making it more difficult for independents and entrepreneurs to carry on.
I think just a segue from YouTube as well, and one thing for any artists and labels, management companies to make sure is that your content is also available on all these streaming systems. I was mentioned before, I work with Rdio, which is one of the biggest streaming sites in the world, from the same developers from Skype. But looking through, I mean, I was, before I came here, looking through Rdio, and I've got a Spotify account, I've got a Deezer account. Of course, there's Beats, which is now purchased by Apple, Google.
Deezer.
Yeah, Deezer. Deezer. But you have to make sure your music is on all of these on all of these services. And I was kind of somewhat surprised, and I'm not sure if it's because of the dominance of KKBox here, that there is nobody who's really actively signing a lot of local labels, especially here. But I mean, there's a lack, I think, of Taiwanese content from what I've seen that's available worldwide through these services. So I mean, one, if you're trying to get the name out, it's one of the best promotional tools, because the world is moving into a streaming world. But two, it's also money. I mean, every time that somebody's listening to your music, you're making something. So I think that's just very essential nowadays, that you make sure that your music is available in all these territories and on all these services.
Yeah, and I touched on that before. If you're interested in getting out into the world and having your music heard, that's key. And there are different aggregators who can do that for you. But when you do that, you need to make sure that it's also translated, and that the information that you're giving to, I know I'm getting into technical terms, but it's really important that you find someone who can translate your song titles into English, because I know in China and Taiwan, your Chinese name of a band will be completely different than the English name. So you need to think about those things, because if you just have it in your home language, then it won't, maybe it won't be recognized correctly, and someone trying to find it on Spotify in the UK. So it's those little things that make a difference. Having your lyrics translated into another language. Having that global vision if you're going to have your music heard.
Thank you. 我们下面是要 Q&A 吗？光远，你有一个简报要放一下吗？你还没有发言。是。是。好。是，那我们坐那边。我们坐那边来看。那我们先看一下。
好，我带来4段影片。
春浪。
一个是春浪在新加坡，然后一段是春浪在香港，然后另外一段是春浪在台湾，以及春浪的 Electric Party， 总共有4段，大概都1分多钟左右，我们看一看这样。The first one I want to play is Spring Wave in Singapore last year. So we can see the first one, and the second one is Spring Wave in Hong Kong last year, and the third one is Spring Wave Taiwan, and the last one is Spring Wave Electric Dance Party.
相信爱情的纯粹，我不需华丽的诗篇，我相信人类的沉淀，我不信不声的和谐，我相信缥缈的瞬间，我不信绵延的永远，我相信很快就能万岁，快张开你的嘴，不管你是谁，人生都太短暂，别想别怕，别不在现在，只是永远，只是等那一天，天天就这一天，人生都太短暂，举步进来，看着我在唱，哦耶哦耶哦耶。There was a time I used to look into my father's eyes. In a happy home, I was the king I had to go through. Those days are gone, now the memories on the wall. I hear the songs from the places where I was born. Upon a hill across the blue lake, that's where I had my first heartbreak. I still remember how it all changed. My father said, don't you worry, child. She has got a plan for you. Don't you worry now.
Oh, 谢谢谢谢。是那个 Q&A 的时间，大家有什么问题吗？来，请。
Thank you, everyone, gave us this speech today. I'm really impressive. I have a question. Is like when our Asian artists go to the overseas market, for example, like North American market, sounds like the market there is really separate. It's only Chinese audience. They're interested to go to our concert or our shows, but the local audience, they're not really interested. So I know this is a long-term effort, or this is a both-way effort. But for you guys' opinion, do you think there is some work for us we can do in advance to, or different event to warm up the market to make the local audience start interest about our music? Thank you.
I think you get your music up on things like SoundCloud, outlets like that, and then try and build your social media as much as possible. And then I think I mentioned before trying to get to some of these conferences where you can go there and then maybe do a few shows around that. It's a long-term. You need to have a long-term approach. But there are bands that do that. I think as long as your music is really is good, I don't think people care where it comes from. As long as it is competitive, what's going on in that market, and I think that goes to you need to know what your competition is. And again, you need to do your homework. But I think there are bands. There's a label in Beijing called Maybe Mars. Their bands go to America quite often. They have a band called Carsick Cars. They're an indie rock band, but they play around America. They've done it quite a few times. They play in Australia, and they're a band that's very similar to kind of a Velvet Underground. I don't know if anyone knows that band, but they're a very influential band in America in the late '60s. But they're very similar in terms of that type of rock and roll. And they just happen to be from China, but people like them just because of they're good at musicians, and they're good at what they do.
If I could add to your question, so I think a lot of what you were asking, though, when you go to North America or wherever, it's mostly local Chinese audiences. And I was very similar, as why I'd mentioned a band earlier, One OK Rock, which I know they're very successful here. But it's always been their dream is really to kind of break the North American market. So I was with them in Toronto in May, and they were playing a venue that was sold out. It was about 1,600 people, but it was probably about 85% Asian, local Asian, not just Japanese. I mean, it was Chinese and Filipino, but it was about 85%. And I know what you mean. I mean, it's great numbers, and it's a great base to have. That's your starting point. So now you're trying to go, okay, where do we get to more of a Western type audience? And right now they're on the Warp Tour for the U.S. So they are, of course, trying to make that approach outside of having the local Asian audiences support them. So yeah, I mean, you use that as a base, I guess, as a springboard is, I think, in order to get to that next round where you are playing bigger venues. With a wider audience.
It's incredibly difficult, but I think if that's the real objective, you need to go and try and live there for an extended period of time instead of just going in for 2 weeks.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, One OK Rock's living in LA as well,
Right.
making sure their English is actually up to par, and it's a slow process, and not everybody has that luxury of doing that, but. Yeah, that is a major thing, is actually probably living there for an extended period of time, because you can't do there. It's hard to go for a showcase, come all the way back, and expect to have great big results.
It's never gonna happen. Either that, or you go in there 4 to 5 times in a year and keep going back. But you have to, if that's what you want, and you want it more than anything, then you need to be there. It's the same thing of bands coming over here. They can't just be. A band just can't be big in Asia, Asia's kind of a silly word because it means that they're all the same thing. Every market's completely different. But if you want to be big in a market, you need to be in that market. You can't just dip in for 2 nights and then that's it and dip back out.
The key to this conversation is commitment. I mean, and devotion to making it happen. And not only from the creative point of view, it's also coming from a financial side. You need to have the funds in order to stay. If you're going to be staying in Los Angeles or San Francisco or New York for a period of time, to not only perform but to write music, to meet new people, to collaborate with, you need to have the sufficient financial support. Otherwise, it could be a big disaster.
And to top, if you don't mind me adding, that's exactly on what Tony and Glenn were just mentioning. It is commitment and devotion. And it is very hard to go. I mean, you need to have all the pieces together, and even songwriting is a very important part. I mean, it's still. I mean, if you wanted to do the U.S., except for Spanish language music, it's very difficult going in with a different language, and it has to be, perfect sounding. Because everyone is in. Well, actually, that's wrong. Everyone is an English speaker, but they are used to. If you want something on the radio, it's got to be. All the pieces have to connect. So, I keep using One OK Rock as an example, but they are now working with publishers based in Los Angeles to make sure they've got that, the sound, make sure they have the lyrics, the production. They just got out of the studio with John Feldman recently. So, it's once again, as Glenn said, it's devotion and commitment and know the market and work it.
Thank you. 还有问题吗？来，请问那位，拿个麦克风。
就是我本身是做电视节目的，那韩国做了一件事情，也提供给大家接近一下。然后待会有个问题想询问，就是他们韩国都用粉丝见面会的方式来到台湾，他们只负责打平他们的收入而已。然后他们会挑选我们台湾目前像说可能收视率比较高的节目，他们就去接触，然后说我可不可以免费上你的节目，想办法上收视率最高的节目。然后就用这个方式再去拓展，等于让它的能见度变得更高。那我想请教的是说，因为目前是4位，包括我们的逆想都是做live 非常知名的人物，有没有这样比较主动出击的方式，在可能印尼啊，或是日本，或是北美各个国家，是我们去，然后可能比较低成本，或是用什么方式我们可以去 touch 到，然后让我们的能见度比较瞬间可以提高的？因为像目前 YouTube 什么之类还是比较被动的软体，它如果没有搜寻台湾 music， 可能它就找不到我们这样子。有比较适合的、比较很低成本的，可能一次去就可以去接触到的部分，这样。
Well, I mean it exactly that. I mean, you say searching, for example, but I mean YouTube. There's so much content that is now tailored for YouTube's and other similar sites. Okay, so now you're trying to say, okay, if people are not searching for it, well, you've got to make it something original, something that's going to stick out. I mean, I hate using the word viral, but it's viral. So, I mean, you have to find different ways. I mean, you make something original, make it unique, find the right people to get it, and I mean, hopefully it will grow that way. But I mean, it's not just getting your video and throwing it up and hopefully that people will see it. I mean, you've got to have digital strategies in this time.
I was just going to add to that exactly. You need a very, very clever marketing plan and a very good promotion. I don't want to say gimmick, but you need to be very clever about the way you're going to support your music. I mean, the least expensive way would be. I can't imagine. You have to spend money, unfortunately, to make money and support your music.
And one thing I always mention as well, I mean, I don't see that many, like, for example, Facebook and Twitter, if all bands, I mean, that's once again, a very simple point is have Facebook and Twitter in localized languages for the markets that you're trying to connect with. Whether it be English or whether it be Japanese or whether it be Bahasa, I don't know. I mean, you've got to get that in your market. I mean, once again, you're connecting to your fans and you're trying to grow your fan base. So, I mean, that's a simple thing is, I mean, make sure you have an English page and figure ways how to grow that fan base. Being in Southeast Asia, I mean, Japan, for touring Japan, you still need a record label. You still need, I mean, a publisher on board. But for Southeast Asia, we look at we look at your fan base. Where is your greatest fans? What cities? How do you break that up? Whether it's, I mean, if it's Indonesia, if it's Jakarta, or it could even be Yogyakarta. I mean, it's a digital strategy game nowadays, but it is, once again, it's very, very low cost. You just have to kind of think it out and plan.
I think a band if you're an artist from Taiwan and you want to break international, I think what Sebastian mentioned earlier is that you've got an incredible touring market within Southeast Asia that's really becoming, I mean, bands are just coming into the market all the time now, much more than a few years ago. So, you know, it may be unrealistic to think you're going to break in America initially. So maybe you want to concentrate, you know, and take smaller steps and stay within the region initially and to build up your fan base.
You know, just to add what Tony's just saying there, and actually with Sebastian, we represent a client from Brazil, and we did a tremendous amount of market research of all the possible areas in the United States and Canada that had Portuguese-speaking people, and we followed through with just more and more information, more data about the reaction it would be to having a Brazilian artist come into their cities and just singing in Portuguese. Fortunately for us, this woman Beatrice Mason also sings in English and Spanish and German. I mean, this is amazing, but we did our homework, and we found that there's certain markets that she could go in and play and just play to the Portuguese-speaking people, but we also expanded upon it and found other people, found that same market or similar markets where she could go in and do her set in English. So it's good. We've been saying it over and over again. Do your homework. Do a lot of research. I'm not saying you as the artist. I mean, hopefully you'll have a solid management team and good contacts and producers and things to do that work with you or for you, because being an artist itself is a tremendous amount of work, and being a songwriter is a lot of work, and it's really good. It's really important to know how to delegate these activities.
还有问题吗？没有问题了。那是这位。
Thank you all for sharing today. I have one question is to ask is that because we have a really good neighbor that is mainland China, but do you think like Taiwan should like be satisfied with this market, or we should spare more efforts on other markets like the Southeast Asia? Because actually, if we just operate it well, the mainland China market, we can still earn a bit of money. But should we like focus more on the international? And that's my question. Thank you.
Well, I mean, you have huge Mandarin-speaking markets in Malaysia and Singapore. Hong Kong is becoming, much more of a Mandarin-speaking city lately. So, I mean, I think that Taiwanese artists do prioritize markets like that. So, I mean, to my knowledge, some of the biggest Taiwanese artists also perform in cities like Kuala Lumpur and Singapore. I think that if a band, those are logical steps for a Mandarin-speaking band, Chinese-speaking band, to go outside of just the traditional Chinese, Taiwan into China, Taiwan into Singapore, Taiwan into Malaysia, and other Chinese-speaking markets around the region.
And once again, it all goes back to the music as well. I mean, if it's the music that's more suitable for China, yeah, that's most definitely. If it's more for perhaps non-China, I'm only hypothesizing whether it's all in Chinese or if it's English or if it's rock or if it's pop. If you got a great market going in China, yeah, just work the market if that's what you want to do. If it's music that might be more suitable for other territories, figure out what that territory is and concentrate on that. I mean, China is such a massive country, but of course, I mean, you're not really. There's a big live scene. Actually, I think it was over breakfast that I was kind of surprised at the size of sales in China nowadays. I mean, whether it's physical, I think there is. Somebody had mentioned, I guess it was 30% physical, I think, and 70% digital, and it would grown X amount percent. But yeah, I mean, if it's Chinese pop, I think of course China is your natural market. But if it's something that might work in other territories, then go for it.
Australia, I mean, there's huge Chinese-speaking population in Australia. I mean, it's relatively within it's. Not a short flight, but I mean it's within the region, relatively speaking.
And Australia's got one of the best live touring setups, I think, in all of this part of the world. I mean, it's amazing live performances and all the merchandise that you sell when you do tour live. I think that's a very good example of a market for you.
Oh yeah.
我觉得那个讲到今天的主题如何跟国际接轨，我真的还是认为，以一个台湾人去发展音乐的话，真的主要还是先 focus 在亚洲市场。刚刚大家看了几段春浪的影片，其实如果把春浪看作是一个音乐产品的话，那我们也可以说，任何一个 band 或任何一个 artist 就跟一个 Spring Wave 是一模一样的道理。春浪也是在台湾的市场先站立起来，然后才开始去思维说，那春浪有没有可能离开台湾走入国际去接轨？ 我们花了大概3年的时间去研究了全华人市场的市场，包括北京，包括上海，包括成都，包括武汉，包括杭州，包括广州，包括新加坡，包括马来西亚，包括 Australia， 我们都去过这些地方去研究。那有一个很有趣的，就是说，当这些地方的华人市场的能量、人口 population 够的时候，就代表一个产品是足够去这个场地的。那我是觉得说，春浪现在去年跟今年开始走入新加坡跟香港，其实就跟一个艺人的发展一模一样。我相信台湾很多好的艺人，比如说我们说苏打绿好了，过去在台湾，然后他现在也开始走入了新加坡、马来西亚，也去了中国内地。那你说 Australia 也像张惠妹、说陈奕迅这些艺人，在那边也都可以卖到5000张门票以上这样。所以我觉得这个 population 是跟这个你的生存是息息相关的。再来一个问题是说 international 这个 topic 更大，那你绝对在你的 mother market， 不管台湾或 Asia， 我们讲 Asia 哈，当 Asia 你有了知名度，你开始受到国外媒体的注意，你自然就有机会能够去得到更多的平台跟曝光。我觉得这个道理我还是要讲回这个重点。所以我觉得如果一个艺人或一个创作人，我觉得第一个重要的真的还是你的作品。那你的作品有没有特色？你的作品有没有说服力？我觉得这在全世界不管是哪里的艺人，作品好不好 ，content strong 不 strong 还是最重要的事。再来是说你怎么样去先从你的亚洲市场做起。我觉得这个还是最重要的事情啊。我的看法是这样子。
时间差不多了，抱歉，时间差不多了。那个这种论坛的特色是不会有结论的，但是提供了一些方向给大家参考。我整理了一下一个关键字，就是 live 是很重要的，而且会是有影像的，所以未来流行音乐的面貌是应该架构在 live 的影像的传输这样的概念上面。然后中间有几个很难的问题，如何让别人喜欢你，之前你自己的国家要支持你，那我又如何从岛内的标准变成国际的标准，这中间很多复杂的辩证，希望大家回去好好的思考。那 Tony 是光远，
我也要借这个机会去说一下，就是说刚刚有讲到韩国的政府很支持，我很开心说台湾的政府现在也有这样子的一个 awareness 这样子。比如说今天台湾的这个文化部金曲奖会来请这样子几位的专家，我们有这个 forum。比如说像春浪去年能够进入新加坡跟香港，其实文化部都有补助我们费用。那当然我们是大部分95%的资金是靠自己，可是政府仍然有这样的 support， 这点我觉得还是很重要，还是非常感谢那个就是有这样子的政府会开始这样去做这件事情，我觉得还是很重要的事情。
他的态度大家要学习，他是懂礼貌的人，拿人手短，要谢谢。那确实啦，刚刚2位都有提到了，我们政府比韩国不行，但好像比美国好一点，美国都没有做的。那 Tony 可不可以告诉我们一下，刚刚开始之前到底放的是什么音乐，然后应该放什么样的音乐才对，好不好？ The music they play in the beginning.
Something upbeat.
What's wrong with it?
What was wrong with
Well, I
Glenn
think
Miller?
I think music needs to get your mood. It's in the mood, right? So I think I think we want it to be high energy, right? I think we're a high energy bunch of guys. So
So what kind of music should be high energy, such as like We Are One?
We Are One.
We Are One football.
Football, yeah, that would be good.
Would be good. That kind of music. What else?
Yeah.
EDM. Okay.
EDM.
王源
EDM is quite good。就 EDM 已经是一个 worldwide 全世界都可以接受的 music style。
I'd actually like to hear some more local music, but I mean more from, for me, I mean I'm here to discover new music. A lot of, I mean, Chinese pop music is very difficult for what I do. So I mean, I'm trying to discover more that we can work overseas. So I mean, that would be something I'd like.
Thank you。所以要办好一个活动，音乐很重要，每个细节大家要注意啊，这是国际化的第一步。好。今天谢谢我们几位贵宾，谢谢大家的时间，
谢谢。
好，我们再次用热烈的掌声来谢谢我们的贵宾，谢谢。Thank you for all your participation and sharing. Thank you.